Good evening. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am great. I could not be not great watching that size of your smile when you speak. This is going to be highly enjoyable for everybody watching. I'm certain Ashley and I don't know each other very well, but we had the privilege of doing another recording together about free birth. So I can link to that show that we did together in these comments. And it was a pleasure getting to know you then, Ashley. But I only really got to know your birth story, which was your birth stories, which
Mhm.
was great. So I was hoping that tonight we could go back and learn more about you and your walk with the Father.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm so excited. And as I mentioned, Jenny, that I tried to kind of organize my thoughts here and what it was I was going to do and what I wanted to say and how I wanted to give glory to Yahuwah. But I couldn't. I just could not get it straight, and I just threw my hands up and was like, "Okay, you lead then." So Jenny, if it's okay, I'd like to just go ahead and say a quick prayer before I start, so I can. All right. Father Yahuwah, thank you so much for bringing me before Jenny and the ability to have this testimony. I ask humbly for you to speak through me and for your words to shine and your glory and esteem to be throughout everything that I say because it's your walk and you brought us here. So thank you so much. And I look so forward to sharing your good nature. In Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. Okay. So, like many of us, I started believing in Jesus. I grew up my life believing as a family, we're not like churchgoers. I remember going when I was young. My family was very faithful. I definitely give kudos to my father. He would lead in the word, but he grew up Catholic and he left the Catholic religion. And then he raised us. We were the only ones in my family. I'm originally from New Mexico, which is a southwest state in America, and it is very Hispanic oriented. There's a lot of Catholicism, and were the only ones in the entire family. And my maiden name is Chavez, so I'm Hispanic, yeah, and I have a really big family, and they're all Catholic except for me, my mom, and my dad. We were the only ones. But he was avid that you don't pray to saints, that Jesus is the only way, right? And I absolutely give him kudos. My father passed away last April. He's dearly missed. But I give him kudos. He raised me in that way. And I just, even as a child, I always knew the Father. I just knew him. Now, as I grew older, I met my husband, and he was also a follower of the way. It was really kind of cool how we met. We didn't have a school that we met or anything like that. What ended up happening was we both attended a church. I ended up going to church as an adult. A boyfriend took me there. You know how it goes. I was no longer with that boyfriend, but I still attended the church. And my husband also attended. We didn't know each other at all, but we both were going to a 5K. A mutual friend, was doing a missions trip, and she was trying to raise money for her missions trip to go somewhere. I don't remember where now, but it was overseas, and it was going to be very expensive. So she did a lot of fundraising stuff. And I was just going to go and run it. I used to be an avid runner. I'm not anymore since having babies, but I used to be an avid runner. So I would just go and run, and then I was going to go, continue my day, go home. I had to work that afternoon, and that was my plan. But I ended up meeting my husband because he was running it, because she asked if anybody would be willing to volunteer. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll volunteer. Why not? And he ended up showing up late. And my husband's not normally late. Sometimes he is, but he's usually pretty punctual. But he ended up showing up late. So if I didn't happen to see a post the day before to volunteer, and this is how Yahuwah works. I happened to see a post on Facebook, like, I still need a couple volunteers. Will anybody volunteer? Sure, I'll do it. Then I would have ran it and gone home. He would have showed up late. I would have never seen him. I would have never seen him. And that's how he works. So my husband was very avid and very um very Christ oriented at the time, and absolute kudos to him. Well, we got married in 3 months. So, and why waste time? And looking back, for disclosure, we've been married going on 11 years now. We have 5 babies. We're very happy. And yes, we got married in 3 months, and that's always like a fun, encouraging, when but I kept telling him, my spirit could speak to yours. I don't know why or how I knew, but I did. So we got married kind of quickly. And then I ended up joining the military. I ended up joining the army. And we had been married for about a year. It was not real easy at first. And for full transparency of myself, I would not submit. I would not submit to my poor husband. And then I went to the military, and I imagine it probably just made it worse. But this is where the testimony officially begins, is because I was in the military. Again, I always knew the Father, and I would have my little pocket Bible in my OCPs. I would pull it out if we weren't doing anything. I mean, my reasoning being, one, I could read the word, and two, I definitely won't get in trouble with the drill sergeants if I'm reading my Bible. So, I would read it. And then I got a letter. I got a letter from my husband. And you had like 5 minutes to read your letter. Then you needed to shove it in your locker and get back to formation. And the letter from my dear husband said basically, Jesus is not his name. His name is Yahuwah. We're when you come back, we'll talk about it, basically. But it was this whole thing. And I did not have, I mean, when you get news like that the first time, I can say pretty confidently that at first you're like, what are you talking about? But if that veil is lifted, you need a second to like settle down. And I did not get that. I did not get that. And it was, I mean, it wrecked me. The veil was not gently lifted, it was yanked away. But I didn't,
And it was from your husband too, right? Who you trust with everything.
yes,
It's not like it was a random silly meme or
right,
something. You knew he was
right.
serious.
He was serious. And it was a card. It was funny. It was a card that had a heart on it that was like, I love you. I miss you. And then I opened it up, and it's like the whole thing is just written about, I've had this revelation, and this is happening, and this is his name. And I'm like, what? And then and then they yell formation. I have to shove it, I wonder if I still have it, I'll have to go look and see if I have it. We've moved a couple times, but I don't think I threw it away. So, of course, it's coming from a place of a person that I not only trust, but love. He's my husband. And at first I was like shocked, but then it turned into anger. Like, why would you write me a letter? Like about this? You could have waited until I came home. But, he's like, no, I couldn't have waited. I needed to tell you. And I understand that, but I was still very mad. So, um, so at first I had this little pocket Bible, and now I didn't know what to do. Like, should I read this? Should I not? Is this right? Is it wrong? Has the enemy taken scripture? I mean, my brain just went, I mean, every way. I remember I mean, this is boot camp. This is not easy. I'm not sleeping. I'm exhausted. We're doing ruck marches and runs and you name it. I'm physically overwhelmed. And in addition to, my husband just dropped on me that his name is Yahuwah, not Jesus, and that's not his name. And at first, I didn't really know what to do. But I prayed, and I tried to let it go, and I got a little bit of time with my husband in between boot camp and AIT, which is the training. And in the training, I was still kind of going back and forth with it. But this, I distinctly remember that when you are around this many women, and a big group of women can be really catty, especially worldly, very not kind of worldly women. I mean, these women were very young and um, very catty and very worldly. And I would just do my best because I was a little older than everyone else. I want to say I was like 24, something like that, and everyone else was like 18. I was a little bit older, but I was married, and I kind of took it a little more seriously. But I remember going back and forth still about the name because I would go to the church that was there. I'm just trying to find the way, right? That's when it comes down to it, I'm just trying to find the right way. And my husband was still chatting with me, and we ended up having some other things I'm not going to get into because it doesn't glorify Yahuwah, but it was not an easy transition. Me being an AIT, we weren't seeing eye to eye necessarily. We were never to the point of I'm going to leave you or anything like that, but we wouldn't have very long conversations, and I wasn't real happy with my husband. And but I did know he cared, and I did know he was seeking, and I did know he was my spiritual leader. And so I remember sleeping at one point. We had Saturdays and Sundays off, of course. Was it Saturday and Sunday? It was a day off. We did get some time off. And I remember sleeping, and I 100% was overrun by a demon. I could not move. It was very hot. My body was tingling, and I was in between. And the first thing that came to my mind to say was Yahusha. And I rebuke you in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. And I came to, and I kind of sat down with myself for a second. And I was like, I'm going back and forth on what the name is. But when it came to, when the battle came, that was the name I said. And I started kind of weighing it a little bit. I didn't say Jesus. I didn't say Jesus Christ. I said Yahushua HaMashiach. And I don't know, that kind of made it more real for me. And when that happened, I remembered when I was a teenager. So this kind of, I want to back up a little bit, similar story, but still very important. When I was a teenager, I dabbled. I was a believer again, always was trying to find the way, but I dabbled jokingly, not seriously, with my friends in tarot readings. I didn't think anything of it. I was like 14, 15. Go ahead, tell me how many children I'm going to have and tell me I'm going to, whatever. I didn't think it was real. And I did it maybe a couple times. And then I started having horrendous nightmares. I mean, like night terrors, waking up in the middle of the night, screaming type nightmares. And I didn't have that. I never had night terrors. So I turned, I'm sorry. I opened my eyes on the third night, and there was something like right here to my face, and it was hot. And I turned to my window light and I just prayed, God, please take it away, and I'll never do it again. Like I pieced together, I almost heard, he said to me, like, it's the tarot cards. You're dabbling where you shouldn't be dabbling. And I was like, I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again. So, and he did. Praise Yahuwah. He took them. I never had a problem like that again. I won't even watch tarot readings on, Instagram. I won't. If somebody has a shirt, I'm like, nope, I'll turn the other way because I'm not going to do it. Well, I felt that same presence when I was in the military, when I proclaimed the set apart name. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit further. So after I got out of the military, and I came home, I was a reservist. So like National Guard, it was a weekend warrior type thing. It wasn't active. And I still went back and forth. My husband and I kind of couldn't, I could not give up my holidays to save my life. I just couldn't give them up. And even though I would come around and I started saying Yahuwah, I started saying Yahusha, and I started kind of gently coming in, I just would not give up my stupid holidays. And they seem so good. And I'm realizing that that's how the enemy gets you, right? He is the angel of light is what he was. So he specifically uses good things and good feelings to get you, and to deceive. But I just wouldn't give him up. And finally, my husband and I got into this huge fight. So, I mean, it really is a lot of kudos to my husband because he's been a very good spiritual leader for me. Not that he's been perfect. He's gone through some routes that I'm like, it doesn't say that. And we've come together and I've helped him as well. It hasn't just been him leading and I'm just like, no, we've gone back and forth in our relationship, and in our walk with Yahuwah. But I was like, I'm just going to leave you if you're going to do this. And he finally was like, you know what? Leave. Go ahead. Leave. Divorce me. I don't care. Take the children. I don't care. And then, and he was serious. This is not a like, no, you won't. He was serious. He was like, go ahead. I don't care. I am not doing it anymore. and neither are my children. And if you're with me, we are celebrating the set apart feasts. And when he had such conviction, I had to sit down with myself. And he, like I said, totally serious. I had to sit down with myself and I had to think, why do I like if my the only reason I liked it, I don't say liked it, they have all the good feelings, the holidays and stuff. But the only reason why I had such guns is because my parents were very avid. I mean, very avid holiday fans. And I didn't want to make them mad. And often I would get the verse, if you love your mother or father more than me, you're not worthy of me. And I felt the conviction, but I would just ignore it. It's like, well, not more. I just, but anyway. So when I sat back and I saw his conviction and I realized he's serious, I let them go. I was like, fine, I don't want to do that. I would continue to get that. I don't want to break up my family for the sake of stupid Christmas. So I didn't. And we started to celebrate. And it was rough the first year because I didn't know what to do. It took some time to develop those good feelings because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying. So, and this is another switch in my testimony. This is when Yahuwah started working. So this is when it gets kind of cool. So when I finally got out of my way, when I say cool, I don't mean fun, but I mean cool. So when I finally got out of my way, my husband and I went through a refining period, and we walked through this time together. And what happened is we ended up losing everything. We lost everything. We lost. Um, we Okay, we had no money to pay bills. I said something last time about how I couldn't even afford soap. I couldn't afford soap. We didn't have the vehicles got repossessed. We were very close to losing our home. The gas shut off once, and somehow or another, I ended up having money. My husband must have applied to 70 jobs. I was expecting a child. Nobody would hire me, even though I tried. And I have a pretty decent resume. I have a bachelor's degree. I was in the military for many years. I worked in the medical field for many years. You think somebody would hire me, but I was expecting, and nobody would hire me. And the only people, quote unquote, that would, a business, I can't even remember who now, was like an online call center that you can work from home, but you had to have complete silence. You couldn't be interrupted, even if somebody knocked on the door. And I had toddlers. And I was like, this is not, I'm going to get fired. So that wouldn't work for me. So I couldn't get a job. He couldn't get a job. And at one point, we both were, I mean, in deep prayer, and just nothing was happening. And we lost and lost. We lost, like I said, we lost the vehicles. We could barely afford food at one point. I couldn't get to the store. I had too much pride to ask my neighbors if they would bring me groceries. Even though I have a good friend, I definitely could have, but pride is hard. Now, I look back on this fondly now, but at the time, it was not fond. At the time, it was not good. But if you look back, he is so good because we had three vehicles at the time. Long story why we had three, even though we only needed two, but two of them were gone. And it was any day now, our last vehicle was going to be repossessed any day. Like we knew it was coming. We hadn't paid it in months. At some point, we just expected a tow truck to show up. And in the meantime, we were using it, right? So we had one car left, and this vehicle became a point of stress for me because it was sitting there and I knew that eventually it was just going to be taken and I didn't know when. It was almost worse that I had no idea when they were coming. It was just, it's going to be gone at some point. Like, so I would see this vehicle and I would have this conflicting, very grateful and very stressed about it. And like I said, this is why I say it's really cool because what ended up happening is my husband and myself both kind of individually of one another started kind of hearing the spirit. We could tap in a little bit different. And there is this giant, we have a big oak tree outside of our house, and this giant branch fell, but it was hanging like just right. And it was big. And even we ended up having like line work independent of us. There were an electrician working on the line, right? And he said, "Hey, you need to get that down. We call that widow makers out here. Because if it falls, and I have children, like, and I am talking, my youngest was 1 at this point, or maybe almost 2." And I was like, "You got to get that thing down." Well, my husband tried to get it down. And what ended up happening, going back to the vehicle, is we were trying to get it down and a branch fell off of that thing and it smacked the windshield, shattered, of the vehicle. I couldn't afford soap. Like, I had not, to replace this windshield was going to be hundreds of dollars. It was our last vehicle. I mean, I was besides myself. I was this close to just, I mean, absolutely losing it because this vehicle was just like just so much point of tension already. And um and my dear my dear husband, like I said, I've talked well of him the whole time, and he's a wonderful spiritual leader. He saw me almost lose it. And again, I'm very pregnant at this point, so I'm already super emotional anyway. Um, and he said, "Go take a bath." Go, it's okay. It's okay. Go take a bath. So I did. So I went to take a bath and I was, I mean, in absolute anxiety and just, I mean, a full-blown panic attack. Like, why would you do? I have a pretty decent sized yard, and it could have landed anywhere else. But a branch fell off the branch and onto the car. Like, why? And and I heard his voice. And I went from full-blown panic attack, unable to think, unable to breathe, to pure shalom. And he just said, "That's just the way of it." And I still remember exactly what he said to this day. He said, it wasn't my voice. And it calmed me down. And it said, "That's just the way of it. If something's going to be broken, it has to be broken." And I was like, "What was that? Who was that?" Like, what is going on? And I stopped and I pieced together that that was Yahuwah, or the spirit. And I was like, what do you mean? And the spirit continued to tell me that this is the path, that it was going to be broken, and this is just how it is, because if something has to be broken, it has to be broken. And somebody would have been hurt. If so, there's going to be damage, there has to be damage. And I thought of my daughter. I mean, this, I didn't hear your daughter was going to get hurt. I didn't hear that. So I can't say that's what would have happened. And I don't know the future and I don't know the path. But it seemed to me that there was going to be damage. I chose the vehicle. That's what it seemed to me. And I got out of the bath at complete shalom, complete different place. I said, "I think that my daughter, I think our daughter," to my husband, I said, "I think our daughter would have been hurt." And instead, God chose the car. And he's like, "What?" And we went back and forth, and we had both been able to hear him separately, just in different ways. And then it became like chasing. I needed to hear that again. I wanted that peace, that it is that he's going to give me. So I started meditating more, deeper prayer, getting deeper into the word. And I started getting just comfort like I had never experienced. Suddenly, I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about the vehicle. It did end up getting repossessed. And I was just like, okay, well, one less thing to worry about, I guess. I just continued on. And I truly experienced a peace that surpasses all understanding. And money dwindled, and slowly money no longer was an issue and was no longer a concern, truly, because somehow we always had money. We always had enough. To this day, I don't even know where it came from. We just had money. I would get a check for like $100 from some kind of rebate. Something like that that came out of absolutely nowhere. And somehow we were always able to pay for food, to pay for the electricity. I'm sitting in my house that never got taken. I ended up coming into some money and was able to catch up the mortgage. Well, I don't know exactly how he does it, but the long and short is we always had what we need, always. And it was a complete refining period. And more revelations I got as I continued to pray. And I just got better at silencing myself and listening. And one of my favorite revelations that I've been attached to lately is this idea, and it's the Master's Prayer, right? And it's an idea that the world has put out for us that whatever happens, good or bad, is Yahuwah's will. And we were going through another refining period. This is different from money. We've been refined in many ways, but I won't go into all the details. We'll be here for 3 years because it took 3 years. So I'm not going to go into everything, but we were going through a different refining period. And same situation. I like to do the bath because I've got toddlers and it's quiet. They put on the water and you can't hear the babies. So I was in the bath again in a situation of sorrow and very difficult and crying. And I'm prone to anxiety when it gets that far. I don't just have them, but I was definitely there. And I said in my prayer, like, please, like, I really don't want this to happen. But if it does, I know it's your will. And I had that moment again, that shalom, that said, that's not my will. I don't want that to happen. And then it continued to say, my will is good. And if my will were always done, earth would be heaven. And I stopped because I had this, it's a deception that everything is his will, like illness, war, pestilence, famine. And then we hear all the time, why would a good Elohim want all of these terrible things? Childhood cancer, right? And it's a huge position of defense against why a lot of people don't chase after the Father and don't even believe that he exists, because it's like, what kind of God would allow childhood cancer? What did that child do? You know? And the long and short that I got from this revelation and then praying deeper and just I start seeking in the word, like what does that mean? I need to make sure, right? Because I'm not going to say I've 100% always heard from the Father, because I haven't. I interject, I step in, my will comes in. Whatever I get when I believe I have heard from the Spirit, I put back in the refining fire and I seek and I search the word. I don't just like, well, God said, and I know I don't do that. But like, this is what I believe I've heard. So I deep dived into okay, his will, right? He allows things. He has to. This world is sinful and it's his law. He put the law into motion. And he plays by his own rules as well. And there's an overarching law, legal system, spiritual legal system that we don't understand. But the enemy knows it and he knows it well. And he's the accuser. And I believe that he allows things to happen, but that isn't his will. Because as the Master's Prayer says, may your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, right? So in heaven, everything is done perfectly by his will, and that's what makes it heaven. So I had always believed that anything that happens, good or bad, is his will. Now, that's not necessarily true. What he will do is use the bad for us, because it says that he works all things for our good. There's a train. I live right by a train. Hold on. So I love my train. That's another thing. See, through all the stress, oh, it's a nice conductor. Sometimes they're just middle of the night. Choo choo. But through all the stress, that train has always come. It's been consistent since I was 5. So, so I'll let it go a little bit. But anyway, the word says that he will work all things for our good. But does he want those things? No, he is a purely good and loving father. Why would he want terrible things for his children, right? So in walking this walk, having multiple refining periods, pride, the love of money. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve Yahuwah and serve Mammon, lest you love one and hate the other. And I can confidently say the love of money has been egregiously worked out of me, and my husband. And we could not. I mean, it was like every time we got money, there was a hole in the bag. I know there's a verse that says that there's a hole in your money bag and it just falls through. And suddenly, as we got through the refining period, and he continued to provide and provide and provide, and we trusted that everything will be okay, then he brought to us the business that we're in right now. That is 100% his business. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't even know I wanted to do this. It just kind of came to us. So what I do, just as a side, I do media and marketing. So I build websites, I build logos, I build branding, stuff like that. And I like to tell people that we have an illusion of choice because I always thought I wanted to go into the medical field, but I ended up accidentally getting a degree in business and media, business and organizational communication. And the reason that was is because I was taking medical classes and they were hard, and communication classes were easier. And then I thought, GPA. So, and that's what my 18-year-old self reasoned. And I had no idea that many years down the line, I wasn't going to take the vaccination and get kicked out of what I thought I wanted. And lo and behold, my degree I ended up getting ended up being the job that he wanted me to have. And I love my job. I don't have to get up and go to a job I hate every day. We're planning a trip to be able to go and take some media and content and videos and stuff like that. And I mean, it's great. So he knows for us what we want before we do, right? And we can trust him. And I think I mentioned this last time I was speaking with you, Jenny, but one of my favorite verses, I have many, but one of them is delight yourself in Yahuwah, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Now, the prosperity gospel uses this very aggressively. And like, look, he wants you to be happy. No, that's not what it says. If you actually do a deep dive in the Hebrew and what it meant, it means delight, seek, love, truly seek after Yahuwah. And he will give you, mend, form the desires of your heart. So it's not a, hey, if you really love God, you get $1,000 every 2 days. Like, no, that's not how it works. It's like if you love God, he'll give you that really fancy car. No, that's not what that means. It means if you truly love and seek after Yahuwah, he will give you the desires of your hearts, and then you will be happier than you ever thought you could be, doing something you didn't even know you loved, right? That's the goodness of the Father. So as I'm continuing in my walk with him, I am starting to realize his character more than anything, and it makes sense to me. Um, he is loving. He is good. You can trust that he will provide for you. And he has shown that over and over and over in my life. And now, even when I speak with people in my business, I only work with Torah observant individuals. I went back and forth, my husband and myself, because it's both our company. He's a great photographer. I wish I was. Apparently you have the eye or you don't. So he's the content side of it. But we went back and forth about should we work with the world? And just a little side note of the testimony on how it's Yahuwah's business. I mean, it's Yahuwah's life. He does what he wants to do in my life. But I went with one company, quote unquote, that is part of the world. And it was actually somebody I was in the military with, and it was someone I thought I could trust. And I started doing some work for them, and I started like doing things, and I got a like, hey, put a contract or something in that they're going to pay you, because I agreed to just help them out and get it started without pay until they could, because they said they were going for or they were going through, the startup costs and business. I get it. I understood. So I was like, look, I'll get it started, but I need you to sign a contract that says that you will pay me when you can. This is not free work. I'm running a business. And as soon as I said that, after I had already given a lot of my time into just wanting to help this person, totally ghosted, totally nothing, just absolutely treated like terrible. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I hear you loud and clear, Yahuwah. You don't want us to work with the world. And then I just kept hearing. So again, and I acknowledge the feelings, the spiritual moving, right? We like the wind, we call it like a movement of the wind. And I kept hearing, build it, they will come. So I was like, should we go? Do it like Noah? Like, what do we do? And I'm like, do I advertise? What do I do here? And I just kept hearing, Build it, they will come. I'm like, okay. So we did. We built it up. I put a few things like, hey, I own this business, and I've had many Torah observant businesses come to me just to help them. And I don't care about the money aspect of things because I know Yahuwah has it. And because I don't, it's so much less stressful. I can just work with people. I've had many times where people are like, I wish I could afford you, but I can't. I'm like, dude, I'll do it for you anyway. It's not a big deal. It's not mine, it's Yahuwah's. This is kingdom work. Let me help you, right? And people will just send me things because they're grateful. And being able to do that because the love of money has been violently jerked out of me and it's gone is, I mean, overwhelmingly freeing. Like the reason why Yahushua says you cannot love Yahuwah and Mammon specifically, right, is because people don't realize how much they love Mammon. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Until it is refined out of you, you don't realize it. And now it's like I truly do not, I cannot express how close we were to losing this house. I was calling the bank like I should have some money coming. Like, I think some money's coming. And because I called them, they were like, okay, well, we were going to take your house 2 weeks ago, but if you get it by the end of the month, all right, you know. And sure enough, I came into some money. I had enough money to be able to buy a car and catch up the house. It was not kind of. It was there's like a running joke my husband and I have from a pastor we heard once that was like he shows up at 11:59 and 59 seconds. Like, that's when he shows up, and you know it's Yahuwah because it's by the hair on your chinny chin chin, and he shows up. And I don't even know how exactly how it came. I've said this a couple times. To this day, I couldn't tell you. I have now 5 children, and they all are clothed. They all are happy. They all are healthy. And I discussed with you my birth stories and how I couldn't afford a midwife. And then I fell absolutely in love with free birth. That I started with a midwife and a mid nurse and all of these things. And then in the end, when I end my most recent, probably not end, Yahuwah will give me as many babies as he wants. But my most recent son, I went from having a lot of people to just me and Yahuwah. And I loved it. It was a small work down to you only need me. And it was by far my easiest birth. So he's amazing and he's good. And I trust him because he has never, never let me down. Sorry. Sorry. Just thinking back, going through the testimony, it was hard. Refining is not easy. Refining hurts. But now I am so confident that I know my maker and I understand my father's character, that nothing, nothing could take me away from him. Not a single thing causes me stress. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to say I'm never stressed. Things come up and I can get my own way and I can be in flesh, but I trust him. And I've heard so many times just in my prayer, trust me. And then it will work out. And then I look back at whatever it was that I was concerned about, that I petitioned, that I brought to him, and he used it. And it was beautiful. It came out great. So I just I don't stress anymore. It is truly the peace that surpasses all understanding. Because when you can live life with from going, I couldn't afford dollar store soap like, because it's like $1.50 now or whatever. I couldn't afford it. To being able to tell people we're not going to charge you because I just want to help and it's Yahuwah's business. And truly, people are coming to me wanting to just pay me. And I'm like, whatever you want to pay me. And now we're in a position where we have extra and without getting into like personal financials or whatever, we're in a position where we don't have to be concerned about money anymore, and we can use it to further the kingdom. And that refining period was hard. And now my husband and myself are being refined to really love one another in a very healthy and beautiful manner. And just as a quick aside, like for women, I just have a kind of a note for women because I feel very passionate about this. And I think I mentioned that this in our past meeting, Jenny, but I just want to do a quick run home that to have a happy marriage, in my experience, and we've been married for 11 years, and at the beginning it was very rough. And I was reading my word because I was truly always seeking, right? Um, but I was reading my word and I stumbled on the proverb that says that it's better to live on the roof of your yes, the contentious woman. And I felt this. You want to talk about probably the first time I heard the Spirit, and I heard, "That's you," and I did this.
I
And
had actually I had a similar experience. I didn't tell you in that last video, but I had an experience where I had just my husband and I have only been married for a year. We've only known each other for a year and a few months. We also got married very, very quickly. Um, and we were fighting, I don't even know about what stupid thing,
me,
but I
yeah,
was definitely doing the nagging wife thing. And I remember lying in bed and like we don't even live in the same country. We don't live together, but we were together there I was lying in bed beside him and that echoed in my head all night long. That verse played over and over and I was just like, "Oh girl, you are gonna wreck this marriage if you are being that dripping faucet."
yes, I was the contentious woman. I was the contentious woman. I mean, I'm a strong, independent woman. I was in the military. I had a degree. I was working in the medical field. I made good money. I mean, if anything, I felt like Yahuwah allowed me to go through this so I can reason with other women and be like, look, nobody understands the strong, independent woman more than me. I put my toilet in. I put my floors down. Like, I can do the things. But when I finally stepped out of my way and chose, because somebody's got to lead, we both can't do it. And when I'm not going to say I made the decision, I was wrecked and told, that's you. You're going to make your husband live on your roof. You're a dripping faucet. You're a nag. I mean, I'm just like, fine. And it's interesting because when my husband came home that day, because he was working long hours at the time, and I looked at him and I said, can I get you something to eat? And he said, I remember that day. And that's when I switched. And after that, we had a very, very happy and healthy marriage. It took time, it took some building, but we went from almost daily, I don't want to say daily, that's excessive, but it feels like it looking back. Like, it feels like almost daily fights, big, small, maybe even just bickers. We would fight all the time. Shortly after, my husband looked at me and said, after I had this revelation where I was still kind of struggling with it and I knew what I was doing, but I hadn't quite let it go yet, he said, I am not your enemy. And I was like, what? I definitely see you as my enemy. Why? And it's because the actual enemy, the adversary, Satan, hates marriage, especially a couple who are chasing after Yahuwah. And it will do anything to stop. The enemy does not like that. And the easiest way is to make contentious women because we have a hard time submitting. Going back to Adam and Eve, she didn't disobey God. God didn't tell her. God told Adam, Elohim told Adam. She disobeyed her husband. If she would have submitted, I have a sense. I don't know, I wasn't there, but I have a sense things would have been a little different, right? But that's neither here nor there. That's theology for another day. But I just want to let women know if you find yourself fighting and you find yourself angry and you find you're not getting along and I don't know how I can ever let this man, and he really is chasing after Yah, um, then it might be you. Pray about it. If you're feeling convicted for nagging, then stop. Truly, it doesn't have to be that way. Somebody has to lead. And when I stepped out of the way, then my husband rose up and he became just a phenomenal leader for the household without me having to fight him. And this is one of those, if people tend to rise up or down to your expectations, and he rose above because he was chasing Yahuwah. Yahuwah brought him above where I can possibly expect. Now, we are still being refined. I don't think we'll ever stop being refined. I have a sense that it will continue to be for the rest of this life. This life is just a test. But I can confidently say money is no longer a problem. And when money left, pride left, and now I'm out of my way. I get in my way. I am not flawless. You have to deny yourself daily, pick up your stake and follow him. And I do my best to do so. But things, I mean, we are in a fallen world. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but I am so grateful that he took me out of the world. And the verse I've been using often, because he chose me, he chose my husband, he chose our family. I did nothing. I am nothing. I'm a piece of dust. One revelation I got that was really big too, is you're not that good. Without me, you're not that good. Without his light, we are no different than a demon. The demons, the darkness, they are void of his light. That's what makes them darkness. If we didn't have him at all, and people, and just in general, if you don't have the light, you're not any different than the darkness, right? So that was given to me. And when I realized you're not that great, and I always thought I was pretty good, I'm a good person, and people like me, and I can talk, I'm funny, I thought about all these things, and he came to me, and in a time of prayer was like, I gave you those things. You're nice because I made you nice. You're fun to talk to because I made you fun to talk to. Like, how could you think you're that good when I gave you those things, right? And it's just absolute gratitude for being chosen and being set apart. So I hear often, and I'm quoting this verse often, which is "Come out of her, my people," which is Revelation 18:4. And I believe that's the movement that we're all getting into. Is the veil is being thinned, the names are coming to, and we're starting to realize, okay, this is what it means to follow the way. And I'm very glad that he showed him, even though it was not an easy beginning. I'm going to find that card. I'm going to see if I can send it to you, Jenny. I'll see if I have a sense of where I think it is.
How long ago
I'm going to
was that,
find that
Ashley?
card.
How many years
11
ago was
years.
that?
I'm sorry, 10. 10 years. We've been married almost 11. It was 10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago when you got that letter saying his name is not Jesus.
Right. And it was, I couldn't, interestingly, it was this whole little writing. He took a pen and he's like trying to force as much can in this little card because in the military, you can't just get pages and pages and you don't have time. I had a minute and 30 seconds to read it and shove it back in my locker and get back to formation. Like I think I said 5 minutes. That was being very generous. I believe it was a minute and 30 seconds. And I don't remember anything that it said because providentially, I didn't read everything. I didn't have time to read everything. I skimmed it and I found Jesus is not his name. His name is Yahusha and the Father's name is Yahuwah. And we've been lied to. And I'm like, what book am I reading? What book is this? I'm like, what? Providentially. And then I ended up being able to call him later. I had 30 seconds to talk to him because I'm in boot camp. You get it. I had 30 seconds to talk to him, and he just rang home. Yeah, his name isn't Jesus. It's a lie. I'm like, what? Okay, and then I gotta go, beep. So it was a very rough start for my walk. And not only that, I had not yet come to the contentious Roman realization that we had had. So I was not only upset that this was given, super confused, feeling yanked, the veil was yanked off, the spirit was working in me as gently as it could. And all of this was happening, and my husband became an enemy for me for a while because I'm like, you hurt me. That was cognitive dissonance, right? Cognitive dissonance is the fight or flight response when something, that you truly believe to your core is challenged. And for those who are Torah observant that are spreading the name, like Christians get offended, but you have to understand they might even attack you, and they often do. But it's not you. We know we're not fighting against flesh and blood. We're fighting against spiritual and principalities of darkness. But it's cognitive dissonance. You are bringing something to them that they likely love, and that's hard. People feel actual physical pain when you present to them cognitive dissonance statements, and they associate it with you because you're telling them that. So, for encouragement, the people who attack you as a Torah observant individual, and I've had this argument with my own parents, when they attack you, it's not it's usually not you, it's the information that you are developing that is shaking their entire foundation, right? So I experienced this cognitive dissonance in the military, in boot camp. But, and I was like, and I actually, we just talked about it before because I was talking about giving the testimony and so on and so forth. And I was like, did you have to send that letter? And he's like, I needed to tell you. I had to tell you. So he's like, yes, I did. And I was not very grateful for it at the time. But 10 years later, I am very grateful for it. I don't know if I would have responded if I had a gentle push.
And I mean, 10 years ago, presumably there wasn't, now almost every Christian has a weirdo Torah observant Hebrew roots person in their
Right.
periphery, right? Like people
Yeah.
know that we exist. But 10 years ago, I mean,
He was a
you didn't
pioneer.
have other places that this was coming from. Your husband just dropped this on you. And I can,
Never heard it once. Never.
yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And my husband, I give absolute kudos to him. He would love to lead an assembly, but he's definitely one of the first people I know that started following and chasing the name. But he's always been kind of a conspiracy theorist, and like I won't get into that aspect of things because how much time do you
Well,
have? But
you ask him, Ashley, if your husband would like to come and talk to my husband. My husband would love to hear your husband's story firsthand.
oh,
Be
he'd
great.
love to. I already know he will because
Wonderful.
you think I love Yahuwah. Like, I absolutely give it to my husband. He has an amazing testimony
This is
because
a decade on this path is incredible because like I'm like 2 years on it. You know what I mean? Like people are coming now in
right,
droves, right? But 10 years
right,
ago, and especially you're
mhm,
very young too, you know what I mean? You're not like that's incredible that you guys have been walking this out for 10 years.
right.
And I can tell too, like I was telling my husband that I was doing this interview with you tonight, and like he didn't recognize your name, and I'm like, well, no, because she's not like Ashley's not like in a clique, or like you can't tell who her teacher is. Like a lot of us meet each other through a certain ministry or a certain Facebook group. But like I met you through our sweet sister Jenna. You know what I mean? But I don't know what you know, and it's because you've been here for so long. And now that I know that, I think that is probably one of the reasons why your fruit is so good. Like you're so pleasant and you're so full of love. You're no longer in that place that many of us are in after you've gotten past the cognitive dissonance, and then you want to like, like when your husband dropped that on you, it's quite violent, so
It
you're
was,
not
yeah.
you've been out of that for so many years that we now see after a decade what that fruit looks like, that most
Mhm.
people, myself included, when we get this information, we can't be sweet. We've got to tell everyone
Yeah,
fast.
we went through that. We went through that. Yeah, we went through you've been lied to. It's the enemy, right? You need to get out of the church of the Sunday beast, like, yeah, we went through that as well. But yeah, now, and you know what? I really appreciate you saying that. I really appreciate you saying that because he has given me so many of his fruits. And I love to exhibit them, and I love to show people peace, patience, gentleness, self-control, joy. I love to exhibit these things for people because that's in my experience. And like I said, I actually have a degree in communication, and I know that uh, this is like a worldly education, but it's already been in the word because it's Yahuwah's scripture and truth is truth. But coming down and being aggressive doesn't always produce listeners. In fact, most of the time it doesn't. But when they see people like me, where I'm like, I'll do it for free, no worries. How do you pay your bills? I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Somehow or another, they're always paid, so I'm not concerned about it. Stuff. They see that. They see this trust. They see that we went through things that would have broken most people. I mean, this is where this stuff divorces, when we lose everything. We had children. I was expecting. Couldn't afford a midwife. All of these things would break relationships, and yet we grew closer and we grew stronger. So I really appreciate you saying that. And yeah, we've been in this game for a long time. I haven't not, there's not many arguments I haven't heard, and scripture knocks them down every single time.
Amen.
Hmm. My husband would likely love to speak. I know he was like, I wish somebody would ask me my testimony. He's one of those, in my opinion, now I'm a little biased, of course, I quite like the man, but he is very wise. He's been through a lot. He actually was a foster child. He was in the system for a long time. He didn't have a good upbringing, and he still was chasing after, at the time, Jesus. And Yahusha, we use Yahushua now, right? Which we believe is just a longer form, a little more correct. And I think you just posted recently that direct pronunciation is dogma. I've actually like prayed on that, and the feeling I can get is like, I will reveal, which I will reveal. Like, I'll do it. If people are seeking me, I will give them the right thing. And that's why when somebody's like just coming out of the Christianity, I'm not going to be like, you're saying it wrong. That's not how you say it. You need to pronounce it
The
right.
thing
That's not
is,
what you
like,
do.
and to the names, these I say Yahusha, you have an extra vowel in there.
Right.
And Yahweh, those tend to be the names that the most aggressive people use. And I don't know if
Right.
you saw on
I think it's a fruit
Facebook.
of the enemy. I
Yeah,
think it's a fruit of the
yeah.
enemy
He
because my
weaseled right in there.
husband,
Yeah.
right. So my husband, that's why I say he wasn't always, I mean, don't get me wrong. He is a wonderful spiritual leader. I'm sure you see how much respect and love I've
Yes.
given him. But he went down the Hebrew roots movement for a while. And he felt bad because we're white. And this aggressive movement literally says that if you are white, you are going to hell.
Oh,
That's
like
what it
the
says.
Black Hebrew Israelites. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
one, yes, the
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Hebrew Israelites. Well, they were mixed in with so that's probably where my confusion comes from. They were mixed in with the Hebrew roots group, and he had launched into it, and they quote that Esau was red, and
Mm.
it says Yahuwah hates Esau. That's not what it means when it says that he Esau I have hated. He hated Esau because he gave up his inheritance for instant gratification. That's what he didn't like. He didn't have the faith and the
There's so much
obedience to walk.
twisting. I heard there's also white Hebrew Israelites is another
Oh, is there
offshoot of
another side
that
now?
cult.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's everything. I was
Most
laughing
of
the other
those
day
things I
because
just,
I don't know if you saw, but Jesse and I we were in New York and we saw this vehicle we see all the time that says Yeshua is Lord. Like for me, again, I don't use the name Yeshua. I've been convinced that that is not his name,
exactly,
but
me too.
it's a vehicle with with a Hebrew name of our Messiah plastered across the side in New York. It's beautiful. This is amazing. People are waking up to our Hebrew Messiah. And,
Right.
then I get all these people, like people I don't know because I
That's
have an
not his
open
name.
profile, and it's always it's Yahusha. No, 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 no. I'm like, all right,
Yahusha.
cool. Thanks. And then
It was the same.
they're telling me it's Yahusha, and like your church doesn't even know. And I'm just sitting there like, dog, I don't go to church anymore. Like you have no
Like,
idea.
right? Like I said, I hear, I will reveal that which I will reveal. And we have grown in the way that we pronounce. Our spirit has grown. I'm not going to say I'm right and you're wrong. It's a spirit language, and this is actually verified in Pentecost. That when the fire was placed upon the disciples, they were giving their testimonies. They were giving the gospel, right, the good news, and it was in each one's language. That each understood it in his own tongue. That verifies for me that the spirit does not care if you speak English or Hebrew. Now, there's a difference. If you are part of Christianity, doing saying Jesus, doing Christian Sunday things, and just kind of submissive, that's different. And my husband actually had a great post. He does a lot of ministry posts. If you're interested in looking, you can find him. It's from my page. But he does a lot of really good ministry posts. And one of them is if you were seeking the Father and used the name Jesus and you died before you had a chance to come to truth, Yahuwah is not a password. It's not like you can't get into your account if you don't. Sorry, the pearly gates don't open if you don't use the right word. You got like 3 attempts and then you get kicked out. Like that's not how it works. The point is to seek him and seek his face, and he will reveal and he will pull them out. And we notice the veil is being torn. And like you said, from 10 years ago, where nobody has heard this name, I have no idea. I don't have any resources. I'm doing my best. He's doing his best. We changed our Bibles. Now we don't like to use the word Bible because it doesn't say Bible at all in the Bible. So we just use scripture. But we changed the versions. We did all these things. We're doing the best we can. Seeking him, that's the heart posture he wants us to have, right? It's not a password. Like, this isn't a, if you don't say the right name, you're not getting in, you're not getting in, you're not chosen. No, he will reveal. Now, I do believe for conversation's sake, we will eventually all know. It will be very obvious and you will have to deny because it is important. And I think that the veil is being lifted and the truth is coming out. Like you said, people are starting to realize and people are starting to wake up. But being aggressive over it's dogma. It is dogma and it is not edifying to the body whatsoever. So, but yeah, we've been in this game a long time.
Thank you,
We've
Ashley.
been in
It's
this a
so
long
it's
time.
so obvious because you demonstrate the light that we're supposed to demonstrate, and I guess it just takes some time and some refinement
Yeah,
I pray that we will all get there, that we can be good examples and we can show the fruit that he wants us to show instead of just, misplaced zeal is good, but not when you're chasing people away from the faith.
right. There's healthy zeal. There's I just want you to know him. Like I'm working with it's there's a it's a podcast that's education based, like homeschooling and education and um, you know, uh, uh, art, but I don't want to use the word art, but it's like it's meant for families that I'm working with. It's called Women at the Well. And I think often at the woman of at the well who is like, come and see. This is the Messiah, right? That's healthy zeal. That's aggressive, healthy zeal and wanting people to know the Messiah. But then there's the other side, which is um, ostracizing people. And they use Jesus, they use Yeshua, and that's not right. They use Jehovah, and that's not right. And you're not part of the in group, get out. That's the dogma that the Pharisees got trapped into. And then they didn't actually see.
Where are you? Oh,
There,
I'm
you're back.
I'm here. Your face froze as you were really
So
passionate
did
about the
yours.
Pharisees. Yeah, no, that's 100% it. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
But
The
I'm wondering too,
Pharisees,
when
the way I finished that was they were so trapped in dogma, they didn't actually. Oh, it happened again.
now we're cliffhangers. Try one more time.
It happened again. Maybe that's a sign to stop. Maybe the
All
spirit's saying
right,
you're
we'll
done.
take it. Bless you. I'm so glad we got to talk again, and this won't be the last time. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy. I'll wait for further communication. I know my husband would love to give something too. He has a really
Yeah,
cool testimony.
that's great. I could anyway. I know
Yeah,
you and I could keep talking, so let's just take our sign.
yep.
And, thank you so much,
We'll take it.
Ashley. Have a great
Sure.
night. Bye.
Good. You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.